If you watched part 4 of our video series, you'd know that the first asbestos lawsuits were filed between 1929 and 1933, but they were settled confidentially, and then everything was radio silence for decades. But come December of 1966, the gentleman you see on your screen, an attorney from Texas named Ward Stephenson, began filing asbestos lawsuits on behalf of workers who worked in the petrochemical plants in what they call the Golden Triangle area near Beaumont, Texas. I have a lot of clients who worked in those plants, including folks that worked at the same plants that a gentleman named Mr. Claude Tomplay worked at. Claude Tomplay was an insulator who worked with asbestos for a number of decades, and he developed an illness called asbestosis, which is a breathing disease that is not fatal, sometimes fatal, it's not always fatal, and is caused exclusively by exposure to asbestos. Now, Ward Stephenson's lawsuit on behalf of Claude Tomplay, he did not win. That case was lost, but Mr. Tomplay did settle with a number of defendants beforehand. He took the Fiberboard Products Corporation to trial and lost against them. His total settlements from all the other defendants was $67,500. But that loss did not deter Ward Stephenson. He kept filing lawsuits, and another lawsuit he filed was on behalf of an individual named Clarence Burrell, who was a co-worker of Claude Tomplay and was also an insulator. Now, here's a picture of Mr. Burrell, and this man led to one of the most significant court decisions in all of asbestos history. Without this case, we wouldn't have asbestos litigation. So he worked with Mr. Tomplay in some plants down in the Golden Triangle and was also diagnosed with asbestosis. But he was also eventually diagnosed with mesothelioma, a fatal type of cancer, and that killed him. Mr. Burrell and his family sued a group of the manufacturers of the companies that put asbestos in those refineries under a theory that's known as failure to warn. Now, in September of 1971, the jury returned a verdict in favor of the Burrell family, and they found that 4 companies were responsible for the death of Mr. Burrell: Philip Carey Corporation, the Ruberoid Corporation, Johns Manville, and Fiberboard. They lost at trial, and the asbestos companies appealed the verdict. And it's unfortunate that he actually passed away during the pendency of his lawsuit, so he didn't live long enough to know he won. Now, I want to state very clearly that Ward Stephenson is absolutely the father of asbestos litigation. If it's not for Ward and the battles that he fought, who knows when individuals would have been able to file lawsuits against the asbestos industry, and who knows when all of their misdeeds would have come up. Ward himself was a former insulator who worked in some of the pipe fitter unions in that area, and he understood what these guys went through because he did it himself. Our big database we talked about that tracks sales invoices and depositions and all kinds of evidence on what products, where things are, we call that database Ward to remember him, that we walk in his footsteps, as does every single asbestos lawyer alive today. So I just want to give that recognition to Ward Stephenson that is truly deserved.